I just wanted to include this message right at the beginning. This video is going to be edited differently than my other videos, and I'm going to be using this editing style moving forward. Not for all of my videos, but for topics like this where it's just covering tea or drama or a situation happening, I'm going to use this editing style because it's a lot easier for me, and I'm hoping that I can get more content out for you. Now, for my more in depth videos, I'm going to go back to my original editing style, which is like actually editing and show all of the information that I'm including in the conversation. But for this one, it's more of like just a conversation between some friends. So I didn't want to have to spend hours and hours and hours editing. So I hope that you guys enjoy this. And if not, I mean, who doesn't like The Sims? What's wrong with you? Anyways, hope you enjoy this video and thanks for clicking on it. Okay, bye. Hi, my babies. We are back with another video. I feel like it's been so long since I posted, but realistically, it's just been over a week. But I don't want to go that long without yapping to you. So, welcome back. If you're new, hi, subscribe, do something, damn. But I just needed to take a little break because I was just dealing with a lot of stuff in real life. But we're here, we're back, we're better than ever. And thanks again for clicking on this video. Anyways, today I wanted to talk to the babes about Ice Spice because, baby, she is not having a good summer. It has just been drama after drama after drama, and everyone is calling her not a girl's girl. And if you know anything about that, you know that that's the worst thing you can be called today. Not a girl's girl. Ew, get away from me. If you don't know who Ice Spice is, just briefly, she is a rapper from New York. She blew up maybe like 2 years ago with her hit single Munch. And then she was featured on the Pink Panther song Boy's a Liar. I don't know if I think it's Boy's a Liar Part 2. And that's a great song. Still to this day, I love that song and I love Pink Panther. So come on. Since then, Ice has been putting out music regularly. Unfortunately, she has not been met with the best reviews, and she has received a lot of criticism for sounding exactly the same in all of her songs, which I kind of agree with. Now the girlies are saying that Ice has a dark, negative, and even evil energy to her. Let's get into it.
I don't think the Lord will bless somebody like her. Her soul it doesn't belong to the person above. She is very dark and very soulless.
So that is Cleotrapa. She is a rapper from New York. She makes really fun music and is known for her style and aesthetic. Cleo and Ice have been friends for 2 years and they became friends before Ice blew up. So it wasn't like she got famous and all of a sudden they're friends. They knew each other a little before that. But all of that changed last month. Now, Ice Spice just wrapped up her North American part of her tour, and she had Cleo as her opener. It seems that as soon as the tour finished, Cleo hopped off that tour bus and went straight to TikTok to make a 6-part series talking about her experience working with Ice and being friends with her. Now, I'm not going to play all of the videos, but I'm going to summarize it and just include some clips here and there. It's just a lot, and I'm not trying to make this video an hour long. But Cleo said that Ice invited her to be a part of her tour one day before they were supposed to leave, which is already a red flag for me. Listen, if anyone invites you somewhere last minute, it means they didn't really want you there to begin with. And of course, there are exceptions to that rule. Like maybe all of a sudden you're going through something and they want to do something nice for you. But when the person has known that they have been planning something for months in advance and all of a sudden they're asking you to attend, think about it. Why? Why didn't you ask me a month ago? Why didn't you ask me 2 months ago? Why didn't you ask me a week ago, even? Like, why is it so last minute? And it's probably because initially they did not want you there. Now, Cleo says that she thought Ice invited her last minute because she was trying to smooth things over between her and Cleo. Cleo thought that Ice was apologizing to her in a way by inviting her on the tour and trying to show her, like, oh, I do care about you and I do support you. And this is because there was some drama that happened between them previous to the tour. But we will be circling back to that. Just remember, because it is very important to the story, that something happened before this tour started, and Cleo assumed that Ice was just trying to be nice to her and make it up to her. But Cleo accepts and starts getting ready to go. She starts getting her music ready, her outfits, everything that she's going to need to be gone for a whole month. She also asks Ice if she needs to pay for anything or do anything special because this is the first tour that she's ever been on and she doesn't really know what to expect. Ice tells Cleo that she's good, that she's got her, and Cleo takes her at her word because they've been friends for 2 years, so why wouldn't she?
So I'm just like, okay. When the tour thing came out, I'm like, oh, she's actually trying to like give me something now. Like, okay, okay. She's trying to make it up. She's trying to work. She's trying to be an actual good friend. I made a flyer announcing that I was gonna be coming on tour with her. It did not even get reposted. It didn't even get a comment or a like, and she was tagged in it. The bill, it didn't even have my name on it. Like, just about nobody knew I was coming on tour. It was like a special guest. Like, she didn't even like shine any sort of like her own light on me. It was like kind of like all me. Like, I want my fans to come out. Like, she didn't really try to like mesh me in with her actual fan base or try to like put her fan base onto me. Very calculated, you know? And before I came on tour, I asked her what were the things that I was gonna have to pay for, because this is so last minute. Like, you're only giving me one day to prepare. Like, it's July 30 something and we going on tour August 1st. Like, girl, like literally one day. So I'm just like, what do I have to pay for? Nothing. You're gonna be with me. You're good. You're gonna be with me. So I was like, okay, everything is handled. I'm just gonna go.
So Cleo goes and, she's trying to make the best out of this last minute situation. And she says that the first few dates, they're good. They're having a good time, but then they get to Philly and things go left. So when they get to Philly, they are going from the hotel to the venue. And Ice tells Cleo, like, you should bring your bag with you because if something happens, if you need something, it's good to have your bag with you. Cleo is like, yeah, cool. She ends up bringing her bag. And Ice's bodyguard or security or whoever it was, they take everyone's bags. So they take it from the hotel to the venue. At some point, Cleo does have an issue go wrong with her outfit and she needs her bag. So she tells Ice, I need my bag. And Ice tells her, oh, ask the security guard to get it and he'll get it for you. The security guard ends up getting the bag, bringing it to Cleo. They end up performing, having a good show, and everything's good. Then they're getting ready to leave the venue, and Cleo notices that everyone's bags are gone except for hers. So she asks the security guard, hey, can you bring my bags to the car for me? And he says no. At this point, Cleo is annoyed, but she's trying not to make a big deal out of it. She ends up bringing her own bags down. She had to make 2 trips, and it was pouring rain, and no one offered to help her at all. So they make it back to the hotel, and on the car ride there, things are just really tense between them. Cleo says that even though things felt weird at that time, she wanted to actually talk to Ice and have a real conversation with her because they're friends. She didn't want to hold all of these feelings inside and then have it blow up at a later point, making it much worse. So she decided to just have a conversation with Ice when they got back to the hotel.
So we're in the hotel room, and I had this feeling in my chest. I don't know if anybody else who's a real ass bitch gets this feeling. And it's just a feeling, and I'm just like, I have to say something, because if I don't say something, I'm gonna start moving like I don't like her. So I want to at least say how I feel, get her take on it, instead of being angry and just letting it build up frustration in me.
So when they get into the hotel room, Ice goes and takes a shower, and Cleo goes to the bathroom and starts taking off her makeup. So they're both in the bathroom, and Cleo starts to talk to Ice about how she feels. As Cleo explains how she feels, Ice is just being kind of weird with her. At one point, she says, my security guard works for me, and if he feels that he's working more than what he's being paid for, he's going to ask for more money. So then Cleo tells her, well, I'm willing to pay the more money. How much is it? Because she's also on tour with her. So she's going to have more than this one experience with her bag. She's going to need someone to help her with her stuff. And then Ice says, well, he gets paid a flat rate, so there is no more. So it's like, well, which one is it? Because one part you're saying that he's going to expect more money. And then after you're like, well, no, he gets a flat rate. There's not even an option to get more money. Which is it? So Ice is just continuing to be weird during this conversation. And after the flat rate comment, Cleo's like, well, if he works for you for a flat rate, then you should be able to tell him anything and he'll do it for you. That's his job. And then Ice comes up with another excuse and says, well, he can't leave my side. He has to be with me at all times. And Cleo's like, well, that's weird too, because there was many times throughout the night that he wasn't with you. Like when he went to get the bags or put the bags in the car or whatever, he was not by your side. And then Ice switches it up again and says, well, why would I wait for him to get your bags? The whole conversation just does not go well. And Cleo says that she feels from that point on, from this one bag situation, everything else went downhill, which is crazy because it's not even that big of a deal. Like, if my friend came to me and was like, "Oh, I feel this way because da da da," I'd just be like, "Oh, let me make sure that doesn't happen. Let me tell my people to take care of you because, hello, I invited you here. I invited you on this tour with me, and I told you I was going to take care of you. So, wouldn't that be included in the take care?" I don't know, maybe that's just me. Like I said, from this point on, things just get worse. Cleo says that Ice was being really cold with her. She wasn't given any accommodations when getting ready to perform. She wasn't given a room to sleep in when they would go to the hotels at night. And she ended up sharing a hotel room with one of Ice Spice's hairstylists. She says at this point, Ice just stopped communicating with her entirely, and Cleo was relying on Ice to text her the details about the tour. Ice's team was not communicating any of this information with Cleo. Nothing about when we're leaving, when we're going to arrive somewhere, where we're going. Any of that information, Cleo did not have it. And Ice was the one that was telling her this, but since, Cleo rubbed her the wrong way, now Ice doesn't want to talk to her or tell her anything about the tour that she's performing in. At one point, Cleo is trying to get a chicken salad, and someone from Ice's team tells her that she is not a part of the budget.
And why didn't they tell you that make sure Cleo's good? Make sure Cleo's good. Cleo is a part of the budget. Make sure Cleo's good. The same way you told me that I was going to be good. Why is your production saying that I'm not a part of the budget for a chicken salad? Chicken salad? I'm not a part of the budget for a chicken salad? Y'all could have bought that chicken salad and literally got the money from my manager or me. But y'all wanted to show me so bad that I can't get nothing and that nobody is here for me that I couldn't even get a chicken salad.
Cleo says that Ice just started treating her like she was the help and not her opening act or even her friend. At one of the tour stops, they were in the middle of nowhere, and Cleo and the hairstylist started to get hungry, but there was nothing around them but desert. Eventually, she finds out from someone else working on the tour that everyone else went to go eat at a steakhouse except for Cleo and the hairstylist.
Nobody said anything about eating. Nobody. I'm like, me and the hairstylists keep talking about food. We like, oh damn, we mad hungry. Like we mad hungry just at McDonald's. Or nobody said anything about food while me and her are talking about how hungry we are. Now we go to the tour bus, and we just sitting on the bus. We just like, yo, like, can somebody come with us to McDonald's? Like, nobody want to walk there by themselves. We fake want a man with us. They like, oh, that's mad far. Like, nah, like, word, there's a desert, it's scary. I'm like, okay. Nobody said anything about food still. Come to find out, everybody ate. Can you believe that? Everybody ate. Guess what? They all went to a steakhouse. Everybody went to a steakhouse and left me, the hairstylist, and the makeup artist. Everybody went to go get a bite. Steak, mash, cream corn, spinach. And we didn't have anything. We didn't eat at all. We're trying to figure out how to get a McDonald's. And y'all all ate already? Nobody mentioned it. You know why nobody mentioned it? Because it was a secret. It was a secret and I gagged.
It really seemed that Ice was just being mean to Cleo, all because Cleo dared to confront her about the bag situation, which, again, was not even that deep. Cleo said that she felt that Ice was intentionally wanting her to struggle while on the tour because she wanted Cleo to make sure she knew whose tour it was and that Cleo was a nobody. She was kind of putting her in her place, and either Cleo could kiss the ring or be treated like the help. At another point, Cleo talks about how someone took her credit card and spent $700 of her money from it. And she never accused Ice of doing this, but the situation around the credit card being in her bag was also really weird. She said that her bag was in Ice's room and she just left it by one of the couches. And then when she went back later, the bag was outside in the hallway. So she does say that, anyone could have just walked by and went through the bag and took her credit card. But it's weird that Ice had someone remove her bag, only her bag, from her room, which is like, why can't the bag just be in the room? I don't know. The whole story just gives really weird and like mean girl for no reason. Cleo spent the rest of the videos kind of going over her and Ice's relationship up until this point. She says that they were never best friends and they never really spent a lot of time together, but they would be at the same parties or events, and that's how they kind of built their friendship. Cleo also mentioned that when her and Ice first met, Ice told her that this was a full circle moment for her because she really looked up to Cleo. Ice was listening and following Cleo since she was a teenager, and she was a big fan of hers. So for her to now treat her like this is really weird. Cleo also shared a text message between her and Ice, and it's really, really long, so I'm not about to read all of it. But essentially, Cleo thanked Ice for bringing her on tour with her. And then she started to tell her how she felt about the treatment and said that Ice was not a good host to her. Cleo broke down every situation and how it made her feel, and Ice got defensive right away and started calling Cleo ungrateful. The two of them went back and forth, and it was not a good conversation. Ice ended up calling Cleo careerless. Cleo said that Ice is friendless, and it really seemed like that was the end of it. Ice also just doesn't seem like she's really good at taking criticism because, again, remember, Cleo brought up the first situation to Ice when it happened. And Ice just didn't really want to hear it. She was making excuses and reasons why it happened how it happened. And I do agree with Cleo from everything we're seeing. It seems that Ice is treating Cleo as if she was begging to be on the tour when Ice invited her. I mean, all of this would be so petty and ridiculous if Cleo was begging to be on this tour and then this is how she's acting. But let's remember that Ice asked her to be on the tour. And when Cleo asked, "What do I have to do? What do I have to pay?" she said nothing. She said, "You're good." She said, "I got you." So if my friend says that they got me, I'm expecting that they got me. It's weird that Ice didn't expect that Cleo would have needs as an artist because this is her job, right? Like she went on tour to do a job for Ice. So of course she's going to have needs. Every artist has needs. A lot goes into putting on a show, and Ice knows that because hello, she is putting on shows too. It's giving jealousy. It's giving, I think I'm better than you. It's giving, who do you think you are? And all of that is just really ugly behavior, especially considering Ice is still brand new in the game. She has only been around for 2 years, and really she rose to fame because of one hit song and her support from other artists like Drake. Now, I'm not saying that anyone has the right to treat anybody like this. I don't care if you are the most talented person in the room and you've been the most talented person for the last decade. You do not get the right to treat people any type of way because you think that they're below you. But it especially doesn't make sense considering Ice is not that talented. And please don't drag me. I mean, drag me if you want. I don't really care. I think that Ice makes really fun, cute music, but I don't think Ice makes music that's going to be around for decades. It's not iconic. It's not timeless. It's just in the moment now, cool and cute. And that's okay. Not every artist has to be a Whitney Houston. It's okay to just be a fun artist. But please know who you are. And please understand that as quickly as you rose to fame, you could fall. And I think we're seeing that now. If you want all of the details that Cleo shared, go watch her TikToks because she does go into detail and she does talk about her experience more. And you can tell that it is really emotional for her to talk about these things. Like she did consider Ice to be one of her friends. And it looks like Ice just didn't care about her and was kind of using her for whatever reasons. And we will get to that. But first, let's go to Ice Spice's response because she did respond. She went onto Twitter Spaces and shared how she felt, but in my opinion, it made it worse. I mean, if you didn't think she was a mean girl before, you definitely think she's a mean girl now. But let's get into it. So Ice gets onto Twitter Spaces and she's only there for 5 minutes. But in that 5 minutes, she says, she's understanding how the industry is and that when people are done using you, that they want to throw you under the bus and expose you. She also said that the reason that she asked Cleo last minute was because her management added another tour bus on her tour. So she was going to have more space and she wanted to do Cleo a solid by inviting her and helping her with her career.
And the shit is sad because I genuinely was trying to help her. Like, I'm like, yo, do you want to just come on this tour? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could just like join. Like, mad last minute type shit. What had actually happened is that we added another tour bus. So I'm like, now we have extra room. We have extra bunks. So I'm like, oh, let me see if Cleo wants to come. Feel me? So she could do like her songs and stuff like that. But that's what the fuck I get for trying to be a good person. It's whatever, bro. Honestly, like, that's not gonna stop me from still trying to be a good person. Like, I'm gonna always help the next person out. Like, and that's really my fault for real, because whatever though.
She also said that Cleo never mentioned the times that they were having a good time, like when they went to an amusement park and they were riding rides and screaming all night, and how there was another situation where they all went out to dinner and Cleo ate so much food that even the waitress was like, "Damn, where did the food go?"
Bitch, we was on them rides at the theme park screaming our vocal cords out, like to the point where the next day it was hard to perform. Like, bitch, we was having fun. So for you to try to sit here and complain about a chicken salad, it's like you never came to me talking about a chicken salad. What are you really talking about right now? You gonna send me a whole essay after tour? Like you just gonna get off the bus? I don't even know you got off the bus. And you gonna send me an essay with a intro, bodies, and a conclusion, like, and you want me to try to like analyze this shit and figure out how I'm wrong when all I did was share my stage with you when I ain't even have to do that. You got less than 10,000 listeners and I'm sharing my stage with you and you feeling so entitled, like you thinking that my peoples that work for me is supposed to work for you too? Bitch, you not gonna tell the people how we was at an Italian restaurant and you ate so much fucking food, you fucking vacuum, that the server was like, "Where did the food go?"
Ice also said that she thought it was weird that Cleo was friends with her for 2 years while also thinking that Ice had dark energy, which Cleo did say in her videos. But if you go and listen to the videos, she explains that before the tour, they never spent a lot of time together. And during the tour is when she really got to know Ice and felt that energy with her. One of the last things that Ice brought up during that Twitter space was the fact that Cleo wanted to always sleep in Ice's bed. And she says this.
Like, stop it right now. You talking about some, she ain't let me to the back of her room on her tour bus. She had this big ass room. Bitch, can I play with my pussy one time? In my bed one time? Like, damn, you want to sleep in my bed every day? That's crazy to me.
After I watched this, I realized that Ice doesn't really understand Cleo's points, or she never really watched all of the videos to understand them. Ice says that Cleo never brought up the food situation to her, but considering that Cleo did bring up the bag situation and Ice did not respond in a good way, she was defensive and kind of just made excuses to brush it off. Why would Cleo then bring up another situation? It's like, it's probably not going to go well considering you didn't even care about the first time I'm bringing my emotions and my feelings to you. Why would you care the second or third or fourth? She talks about how when they went to the Italian restaurant, Cleo ate so much food that the waitress was even like, "Oh my God, where did the food go?" Which is weird because why wouldn't the food leave the table? Like, isn't the point of going to eat to eat? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But it's also weird because wouldn't that show you that the girl was hungry? Like the girl was trying to eat as much as she could because you were not feeding her. Either way, if that story is true and like the waitress said that or whatever, it does not look good for Ice because why are you even talking about your friend in this way, saying that she was a vacuum and she ate so much? Like, girl, you have allegations that you're on Ozempic, which who cares if people are using Ozempic or not? But it's weird when you try to post like you're in the gym and you're really using Ozempic. And then because you just lost a bunch of weight, now you're going to go and like body shame someone or be like, oh, you eat so much. Like the girl was hungry. You weren't feeding her. I don't know. I think that the biggest problem in this situation is that both of them went into this situation on a friendship level. They didn't realize that this is actually business. This is not about friendship. And I understand thinking that someone is your friend and then having them treat you not like a friend and you're like, "What?" Like that's crazy because I 100% agree. But I'm also trying to look at this situation from two aspects. One in a friendship way and the other one in a business way. On a friendship level, I do think that Ice was completely wrong. You did your friend dirty. You told her that you had her and that you were going to take care of things, and then you left her hanging. Like, I think it's crazy to think that you inviting someone on tour with you, telling this person that they could sleep in your room, share a room with you, all of that stuff, and then getting mad that they expected to sleep in your bed is weird. That's really, really weird. Now, on a business level, I think both of them messed up because Cleo needed to make sure that she was protected before she just trusted this girl. And yes, they were friends before, but that doesn't mean anything when it comes to business. And especially when it's not just Ice's money. Like the money that Ice used for her tour didn't come out of her pocket, it came from her label. And labels will usually give their artists an amount of money, and everything has to come out of that money: hotels, tours, releases, marketing, all of this stuff has to come out of that budget. So they should have had a serious conversation before. And I know that Cleo tried, but I wouldn't feel comfortable just taking someone's word when it comes to my well being for the next month of my life, like a whole month straight. I'm not going to be close to home. I can't just, go to my house if I don't feel comfortable. Like I'm trusting you. So there has to be more than just like a verbal agreement like, "Oh, I got you," or "You're good." At the end of the day, I think people just need to realize that not everyone is raised how you're raised. I know that for myself, if I tell someone that I got them, I'm going to have them. Like, I'm going to take care of what you need and make sure that you're good and check in on you. And not everyone is like that. And Cleo did assume that because she said that, that is what she meant. That's what Ice meant. But clearly, that's not what Ice meant. And she didn't really care about Cleo's feelings at the end of the day. Now, if the story ended there and that was all to it, I would just sum all of this up to two friends having a fallout. I mean, if you mix business and pleasure, this is what can happen. And it does happen a lot. That's why people always warn people, don't mix it. Right. But like I said, something had happened between Ice and Cleo before. And that situation was maybe like a month or so before they went on tour. And it had to do with Ice Spice's other friend, who was actually her close friend from high school. I mean, there's some different like conversations around how close they were. I've heard people say that Ice used to bully this girl, and other people say that they've always been friends. I don't know. But what I do know is that Baby Stormy is an artist. She's an indie artist, and she's also been friends with Ice Spice for years. Now, I'm not going to go in depth on this story because this could be a whole nother 20, 30 minutes, and I'm already at like 25 minutes recording this. I'm trying to get my ass to bed. So we're going to quick run this right now. But Baby Stormy is an artist. Her and Ice have been friends for years. And about 2 months ago, she exposed a bunch of text messages between her and Ice. The text messages included everything. Apparently, Ice just talks a lot of shit about a lot of people, including her family, her mother, her siblings, Nicki Minaj, Cleo, her other friends. She just runs her mouth about everything. And in all fairness, Baby Stormy was Ice Spice's best friend at that time. So I'm not saying that she runs her mouth to everyone. I don't know about that. But with your best friend, you're more likely to be honest about how you feel about every situation. I know I tell my best friend everything, so it makes sense that she told Baby Stormy everything too. But unfortunately for her, Baby Stormy never liked you. She was waiting and plotting on your downfall and wanted to expose you. She was actually collecting information about Ice and the things that she said to her just to expose her. A lot of people credit Baby Stormy with the downfall of Ice Spice's career because it made the Barbs hate Ice. I mean, she talked a lot about Nikki and her working together and how Nikki just thought she was going to run everything and Ice really wasn't on the same page as Nikki. Those two definitely had a falling out, Nikki and Ice. And unfortunately, because these text messages were exposed, it made Nikki publicly hate Ice too. And just maybe a week or two ago, Nikki unfollowed Ice Spice on Instagram. So they're over, they're done. And you know how Nikki is. When she hates you, she hates you. Like it's done. They're over. Some of the other text messages that Stormy put out showed that Ice Spice was actually talking negatively about Cleo before all of this tour stuff. She was saying that Cleo is just jealous of her. And there was some comments made about Cleo being pretty but dark skinned, something like that. I don't know. I can't really remember. And honestly, I'm not going back to read it all. It was a lot. But I know that those conversations that leaked sparked rumors that Ice Spice is actually colorist. And that's when people also began to question her race. They were saying she's not even a black person. And for her to say the certain things that she was saying and talking about other black women and dark skinned black women at that, showed that she actually hates Black women, hates dark-skinned women, and just kind of keeps them around as props, and that she's actually kind of like just jealous of them and uses them. Baby Stormy also talked about, just in general, how Ice Spice is not a good person, she's not a good friend, and that she has dark energy. She said that she actually sold her soul to Hollywood and that that is why she was so dark and negative. But I will also say that during this time, a lot of people suspected that baby Stormy was going through some kind of psychosis. So, although people took her text messages very seriously, they also weren't taking everything she said seriously because it looked like she was going through something. So, it's not that they wanted to make fun of her, but it was like, well, we can't really trust everything you're saying because you might not be living in reality with us. Now, Stormy did come out, I think just a couple of weeks ago, and she put out a TikTok where she did confirm that she was in a psychosis. So I do understand why people didn't trust her or take her at her word at the beginning. But now, with this story coming up and Cleo speaking her truth, a lot of people are saying, redemption for baby Stormy because we should have listened to her. Cleo should have listened to her. And it's kind of funny because at the time, Cleo was defending Ice and kind of threatening Stormy, saying that she was gonna like beat her up and stuff. I don't know, girl. It was a mess during that time. A lot was going on, and I was just watching all of it happen. I enjoyed it. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, obviously, I feel bad for Stormy because she clearly was going through a lot at that time. But when she came back to explain and confirm the psychosis, she never took back any of the things that she said or leaked about Ice. I truly believe that she never liked her and that she did believe that Ice was not a good friend and not a girl's girl. And then seeing how Ice did Cleo, I mean, it's kind of confirmation that Ice is not a good friend. And maybe, Ice is young, she's still learning, she's still growing and all of that. And it's not to say that she's a horrible friend to everyone or she doesn't have the ability to change. But right now, from the different situations that we can see, yeah, it's not giving good friend. Okay, so quickly, I did want to mention that someone did come out and say that everything that Cleo said was true because they were also on tour with Ice and Cleo. And they said that they were Ice's stylist, but since then, I've seen several people come out and say that he actually lied. He's not a stylist, he wasn't on tour with them, and basically he just made those videos for clout. So I'm not going to include the actual videos in this, but I did want to include that part just because it's out there and a lot of people were saying, oh, this is proof that this happened to Cleo, but I don't want to include that if it's fake. And at this time, I do not know 100% if it is true or not. And I am leaning towards that he is just lying. So just wanted to say that. One last thing I did want to mention, just to also paint a picture of the other things that Ice Spice has been criticized for recently, like within the last 2 months, is her beef with this girl named Madeline, I think her name is. And there's this UK rapper. What is that guy's name? Hold on, let me go find his name. Central C. So he actually has a song with Ice Spice, and it's like, if you're cheating, I'm doing him worse one, whatever. I do not listen to Ice Spice's music like that. Like, I used to listen to her when she first came out, but then I was like, oh, all of this sounds the same, so I stopped. But I know that that was a very popular song. And when it dropped, her and Central C started sparking rumors that they were dating and they were seen out together in a bunch of places and all of that stuff. Well, Madeline has been dating Central C for years, apparently. And I don't think it's a good relationship. It seems very toxic. It seems like he's always cheating on her and doing her dirty. And then she just goes online and she kind of looks silly. But I support you, girl. Fight for your man if that's what you want to do. But basically, Madeline came out. I don't know if it's Madeline or Madeline, and I don't care. But I know that they call her Mads. So I'm just going to call her Mads. But Mads came to TikTok to explain her side of the entire situation because everyone was tagging her in videos and basically looking at her like she was stupid because her boyfriend is playing in her face and dating Ice Spice while they're in a relationship together. Essentially, everything was just for publicity, and Mads had no idea about any of it. She actually found out that there was going to be a video and that Ice Spice and Central C were going to be all over each other the day before it was released. Long story short, Ice Spice ends up calling Mads and telling her that she's a girl's girl and she would never intentionally do this. But Mads still feels a type of way because she was kind of thrown under the bus. No one gave her any clue or any hint that this was going going to happen. And now she's kind of finding out with the entire public that her boyfriend is dating someone else. Even though it's not real, she still was very upset about this. And all of this happened on her birthday weekend. Can you believe it? After Mads explained her side of the story, Ice Spice then posted this TikTok with the caption, "Mood after taking her mans." So even though everything was fake, people still criticized Ice Spice for how she was moving in that entire situation. And then, especially with the TikTok that she released, it was kind of like playing with Mads's feelings. And she was the only one that was not clued in on any of this. So it could have been something simple like, let me just call you and make sure you know that, like, I'm good, you're good, I don't want your man, that kind of thing. But Ice kind of is playing into like the mean girl side of things, which doesn't look good for her image. And I do recognize that there are a lot of people that are wishing and praying on her downfall because she rose to fame so quickly, and then because she had a falling out with Nikki. And one thing we do know to be true is that Barbs do not play. They don't play, and they will do anything to ruin your career and even your life. So, could all of this just be fake and people attacking her, blowing things up out of proportion? Sure, I'm not going to say that it can't be, but I also have been following Cleo for a long time, and it's not often that she's in drama like this. I've never seen her come to the internet to tell some like crazy story or make something up. So I am inclined to believe Cleo. And then, especially when you add in the other best friend, the ex best friend, who did come out and say all of this stuff about Ice before the whole Cleo situation happened, it's not looking good. The Mad situation is just icky on top of it. So I don't know. It's looking to me like Ice Spice's career is hanging on by a thread. I mean, obviously, she still has motion and she still is selling out shows and all of that stuff. She's about to go on her European part of her tour. So, I mean, business is not dying down, but the industry is so flaky. Like, you can be on top one day and then at the bottom the next. And if you fall out with the public, then they really don't care about you. They're not going to stream your stuff. I mean, ask Katy Perry. And just to be clear, I do think that both Ice and Cleo were wrong on a business level. I mean, you can't just have a verbal agreement and then think that everything is concrete and everything is going to work out fine. I do think that both of them needed to involve their teams more in this collaboration instead of just leaving Cleo out to dry. But Cleo also should have tried to get her management involved, but it was last minute. So, I mean, that is such a limited time to work with. So, I understand why it played out the way it played out. It's just sad because I think if Cleo had more time to prepare, she would have been able to have a better experience on her first tour and it would not have been how it turned out. But on a friendship level, I think Ice is not a good friend at all. And I do think that when you rise to fame so quickly, you miss out on a lot of the groundwork. And Cleo mentioned this in her video. Ice didn't have to grind like most artists have to grind. She kind of hit the jackpot with one of her songs. And then since then, she's kind of just been floating around. Like, I don't think that she is going to last because, again, I don't think her music has substance to it. But I think it's fun for the moment and she better ride this wave out. But, who knows what's going to happen? I could be completely wrong. Maybe all of my opinions are wrong in this. I don't know. I'm just a girl. Leave me alone. Anyways, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that Ice is in the wrong or in the right? Do you think Cleo's in the wrong or in the right? Do you think both of them are wrong or both of them are right? Whatever your opinion is, drop it in the comments below and we can continue the conversation. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and I will see you in the next one. Okay, love ya. Bye.